Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose front stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight? Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattled, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through that night that our flag was still there. Hosannas and star-spangled banner wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you very much, Brittany Belts. That was a wonderful anthem. All right, folks, it is just about game time. Austin Soul will be pulling from the north side of the field to start the game on your left. There are 4 quarters in this game, lasting 12 minutes each. Today's halftime is 15 minutes. Our referees for today's game are Julie Morris, Aaron Phillips, Yui Ong, and Aaron Shelton. Another special guest here today is our mascot, Riggs, the Dallas Roughneck. Riggs has got a lot to say about the Roughnecks and how much he loves them. Be sure to check out all of his praise to the Dallas Roughneck players on Riggs' Twitter. Follow Riggs at Riggs the Roughneck. Also, be sure to download the Dallas Roughnecks app for the latest insider news, highlights, replays, and order your favorite jersey. If you haven't already, be sure to follow the Roughnecks at @DRoughnecks on Twitter for all the latest update on games, players, announcements, and other professional ultimate shenanigans. If you are in the stands tonight, be sure to take a beautiful selfie having fun at the game with the hashtag #RowdyRoughneck. Our Rowdy Roughneck fan of the game will have their selfie featured on the Roughnecks page. Be sure to make it a good one. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, for your Dallas Roughnecks.
Ben Roy with the goal, assisted by Stanley Peterson. Goal comes at 11:52 in the quarter. Dallas 1, Austin 0.
Ben Laurie to start us off 1-0 here. Thank you for joining us on DallasRoughnecks.com. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Emmy Fitzgerald, and we are excited to bring you today's AUDL matchup. A beautiful day so far, Emmy, but quite windy, to say the least, up here. We're on top of a big tower, but down on the field, the wind is definitely going to play a factor as well.
It is. Last check right before game time, it was about 16-mile-an-hour winds, but wind gusts were 28 miles an hour, and so that's definitely going to have an impact on both teams, but I think what they really want are short points. So I'm so glad that the Roughnecks were able to have that quick point to start the game. Typically, windy conditions create very, very long points because throws are harder to complete.
And this Roughnecks team a little bit different from the ones we've been used to in the first 5 games of the season. They are missing the quote-unquote Big Six. Some of the top players in the nation, of course, playing on the USA national team this weekend. Tell us more about that, Amy.
Yes, the 5 members of the Roughnecks who are on the U.S. men's national team are actually in Medellin, Colombia this weekend, participating in the TEP Colombia tournament. So they are noticeably absent, but the Roughnecks made some adjustments on offense, and their D-line is what's so scary. So that they're really hoping that the D will make it hard as possible for the Soul.
Goal comes 11:22
Jeff
in the
Law
quarter.
scored with the Soul's first point.
That was
So
fun.
Within the first
Awesome.
minute of today's matchup, there's 1-1 score, and we're underway here. The Texas two-step rivalry, as I like to call it, the Austin Soul versus the Dallas Roughnecks here in the Colony. This is the second trip for the Soul to the Colony, as they hope for a better result after the 30-18 loss they suffered last time they came.
Exactly, and before the game, Soul coach Mike Natenberg said, just like we've seen, this upwind point is going to be significantly more difficult. That's where the Soul is advancing on this point. And the first two scores we've had so far in the game have been on that downwind. So it's going to be a battle of the breaks. We can score upwind.
Chris Brooks pulling back to the Roughnecks. Nice crowd on hands. Some still filing in here in the 5-star sports complex in the Colony. Going deep, looking in the end zone, and there is the first score. And Stanley Peterson, Roughneck
game. Throwing the Huck assist to Stanley Peterson in the end zone. Dallas 2, Austin 1.
Stanley Peterson was a very welcome addition to the team. He and Jimmy Mickle were teammates in Colorado. He was teammates with Ben Laurie as well on Johnny Bravo, and he's a real defensive force, but as you can see, very fast too, so he's a great addition to the Roughnecks O-line this week.
So already 2 quick points from the Roughnecks, both of them taking under 20 seconds on their offensive possession. So not too slow to start off with if you're Dallas.
It's that downwind, so the Dallas D-line really needs their goal is to make those points last a lot longer, create some turns, so that the Soul can't really take advantage of this downwind situation they have.
Pull back into the wind goes Ted Barnett as he sends that one down the field. You can see the noticeable difference in the length of the pools and how short those go
compared to the
regular games.
Other weeks where they'll be well into the end zone.
Exactly. Bennett finds Walsh.
And
right on that sideline.
Those shorter pulls too give the Soul and the Roughnecks, depending who's on offense, just less field that they have to work with too. So it theoretically would take fewer passes, at least takes less distance to get down the field. That's a contributing factor to the short points so far.
Bennett
right outside the end zone.
Yeah, not in there yet, but he will finish it off, and the Soul with their second point, and they knot it up at 2.
Trading points right now.
Caleb
said that downwind offensive possession is crucial. It's almost the first team that gets the stop is going to be who has the advantage.
It certainly is. There are many teams that have won games because they either won the flip in windy conditions like this, they won the flip, or they had one upwind break, and that upwind break was enough. I think both teams hope that they're not in that situation. But so far, trading points back and forth. Fans here are also enjoying our beer garden that we have from Grapevine Craft Brewery and Rar & Sons Craft Brewery. They have a great selection. They're a great partner with us. And have excellent beer.
Kai Marshall was back in the game.
Grapevine Craft Brewery in Fort Worth for Rar & Sons.
So 2-2 all knotted up here. Just under 10.5 minutes remaining in the first. Matt Jackson with it. Finds Peterson. The middle. Sending that one deep. A short throw is going to be corralled in the end zone by Kai Marshall for a Roughnecks.
Brandon Malachek. That's Kai Marshall.
So the Roughnecks did a great job using the spacing on the field. They didn't force any throws. They kept it relatively in the middle of the field on that point, and then Kai Marshall was able to time his continue cut really well for Brandon Malachek's look put there.
And that was kind of a disappointing offensive possession for the Roughnecks. It only took, it took them a total of 15 seconds to score. That's awful. Sarcasm.
That's all
should be
in
noted.
your perspective, right?
So 3-2, an early Roughnecks lead. This game going to be really interesting to watch, especially because the Big Six for the Roughnecks are not in attendance here tonight. So this is kind of what the Roughnecks are going to be planning to see over the summer, as the USA national team is going to be in contention over the summer. So it's almost a preview of what is to come for the rest of the season.
Well, and it will always be unexpected. Bo Kittredge's knee injury, obviously, so that would be a factor regardless. This was the first turn that the Austin offense has had so far today. So now the Roughnecks D-line can really show what they've got in this upwind effort.
So that one's going to be high in the air. There's going to be a knock away, and it's going to be grabbed out of the air.
Dalton Smith coming down with it. Way to stay with it.
That was an incredible effort off of the rebound to grab that disc and continue the Roughneck possession.
And that's something that both teams are focusing on. When a disc goes up, you can't ever take for granted that, oh, that's out of my reach, I can't do it.
And Matt Jackson in the corner of the end zone makes the catch and puts the Roughnecks back up by 2.
That upwind break was crucial, especially in the first quarter, and really as a result of Dalton having his head on a swivel and not giving up as the disc kept tipping and tipping through that kind of scary attempt in the air.
And you could see the excitement coming from the Roughneck bench as Jackson reeled in that score. And you saw the excitement jumping up off of the sideline to go and greet him.
That's a big break. It's a big
Exactly. So 4-2, still very, very early in this one. Despite the win, the high scoring affair so far, very quick on both sides. That pool is going to be sent deep into the back of the end zone.
So it looks like it landed in, which is why they took it from the back of the end zone.
Soul working it up the field. To dump it right back off. He's going to send that one deep. It's going to hang up in the air as well. So you can make a play. The Soul come down with it, continuing their possession. Open in the back of the end zone and just out of the reach. Overthrown into the wind. Not necessarily what is a usual occurrence. And a big break for the Roughnecks as that was just out of reach.
And Reed Bacon was having to guard two people, it seemed, at once, and he came off of his defender to guard the thrower. But
that catch is going to be made by Chris Larber all the way down the field. So he'll dump it back off to Ted Barnett. And
Chris
Larber will
on the
finish
rundown
with
for the
the
hook
score,
and the
5-2
goal. Ted Barnett with the assist.
of the Roughnecks.
That is another Dallas Roughnecks
so
break.
that is a break for the Roughnecks defense, or really for the Roughnecks, this time on the downwind. So both directions, the Roughnecks D-line, they're just so difficult.
Go, Red, go.
I think the
Go,
AUDL put out a
Red,
great
go.
meme a week or two ago about other teams facing the Dallas D-line, and it's like you're running up against a brick wall and falling over. You know, it was hilarious, but these guys take it, they take it seriously, they take it very personally to, you know, be that strong force on the team.
And they're going to definitely have to step up today. They have so far up by 3, 5-2. Just under 8.5 minutes remaining. The Soul trying to get something going after 2 straight complete collapses on the offensive side. And a diving effort there. Keeps the possession alive. Nice play by Doug Richardson. Jackson on that sideline. They're able to dump it off to Loscorn. Loscorn with it.
So you can see the Roughnecks are forcing home. So that's really the direction that the wind is really pushing the disc right now. So they're taking advantage of that.
Looks like Dalton Smith's going to be called for a foul. No, the Soul will advance the disc. Throw it over the top to Loscorn. Now guarded by Dalton Smith. Loscorn, that'll be a D flying out of nowhere.
Dirty Dan strikes again.
Dan Emmons with a beautiful diving D to knock that one down. This one back up in the air. Who's going to come down with it? And the Soul will grab it. Continuing their possession, that's going to be to Pollock. Pollock will dump it back off. About 5 yards out from the end zone, they'll dump it back to Loscorn. That'll be dropped.
Definitely threading the needle, but Dan
Exactly.
Emmons did a great job just causing some commotion in there too.
The fact that Dan Emmons, in a diving effort just out of the reach of Thomas Slack, but Dan Emmons diving in and trying to break that one up, unable to get a hand on it, but just the fact that his body was in the way forced the drop pass.
So now we have a double team, still able to get that break around. But now the Soul have a lot more of the field to work. So even though Dylan Larberg's upline throw wasn't completed,
This is going to be deep. Matt Jackson on defense makes the play, reaches up over Loscorn. Loscorn wanted a foul, but Matt Jackson with a flying D.
He timed that so well. I know Loscorn was looking for that contact call, but Matt had great position.
There's some contact on the other side, but a defense from the Soul as they'll regain possession. Scoring a little bit more hard to come by so far. Loscorn has it.
And this
Sending
is
that one deep in the back of the end zone. And that one will be caught and corralled by Caleb Danicor for the score.
so the Soul were able to stay calm. Loscorn didn't get the call that he wanted outside the end zone, but as a result, I think that fired him up to really be motivated to get that aggressive D and allow the Soul to take advantage of that opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, on your feet, Kai Marshall is back in the game.
And one thing that head coach Patrick Eberly told his team before the game, saying, we know that people aren't here, but we all play within ourselves. Don't try to be a hero. Don't try and overextend yourself. Play your game, you'll be successful.
So Cunningham with the pull. They'll send that disc down back to the Roughnecks. See if they can execute. Costello with it. Hands it off to Marshall. Marshall's going to send it deep. Looking in the end zone, and an easy score for Stanley Peterson. And an incredible throw from Kai Marshall. Peterson made that look easy in the back of the end zone.
Well, and it looked like that there was going to try and be a defensive opportunity there, but the disc was just too high, out of reach of the defender. So Stanley Peterson read it really well, had a great catch.
And we have Paige down on the sideline. Paige Norbach, what you got for us? The Soul trying to answer back, down 6-3 right now.
And Dallas did a great job in these first few points after trading back and forth, getting those very crucial 2 breaks. And that point, even though the Soul scored, it did take a lot longer than those first few points, so that's still a defensive victory.
And there's another defensive victory from the Roughnecks side, so they'll get another chance at it offensively.
Steven Darrow just seemed to be in the right place at the right time, but took advantage of it.
And that one will fly harmlessly out of play. Looked like Matt Bennett just misjudged that one on the throw. Soul will regain possession.
So now they have less than half field to work.
And another defensive play, and there'll be a foul, a push called, and the Roughnecks don't agree with that one.
Chris Larver is not liking that one. And it was actually overruled.
So that's another block from Chris Larberg. So they're going to overrule that. I thought it was clean coming from behind. There was a little bit of contact as that one's going to be over the head. And a timeout called from the Roughnecks, I believe.
It is just difficult. Any of those throws up the force flick side right now, that home side, the disc just keeps just getting pushed towards that sideline.
Wow, these guys
So there's going to be a timeout on the field. Looks like the Roughnecks will try and take a break. And they'll make some substitutions on both sides. So right now, let's take some time to thank some of our sponsors, Emmy.
Yes. Well, Sea Blue Travel is proud to be a Dallas Roughnecks sponsor. They specialize in honeymoons, anniversary trips, family vacations. For any vacation booked with Sea Blue Travel during the Roughnecks season, you'll receive 2 free home game tickets. Be sure to check out Sea Blue Travel on their website at seabluetravel.com. Additionally, we have complimentary water at the fields from Bear Water. And Bear Water is a great company that it's well filtered, it's a great system, and they are huge supporters of the Roughnecks. So visit Bear Water on their website for all of your ultra filtration needs. Their product, I've drank their product a lot, and I can vouch for it. It's excellent.
So we're going to send it down the page on the sideline real quick. Paige, what you got for us?
I'm here with Roughnecks part owner Kirk Woolridge. Kirk, how did you get into the ultimate owning business?
Well, Big Jim approached me and he said, hey, you want to spend a little money? And I said, sure. And I've always wanted to own, well, I thought, hey, if I'm going to stick around in Ultimate, I might as well own a team.
And how do you think your team's playing so far?
So far so good. It's 6-3, a lot of downwind points, but we got a nice upwinder, so I think we need to keep that up.
All right, thank you so much. Back to y'all.
We are back. The Roughnecks back on the offensive side. Costello has it. He'll pass it back to Jackson. Almost a diving defensive block there, but unable to get in position. Roughnecks still have it, a little contact there, and they'll call it and move the disc forward.
Positionally, that helps the Roughnecks a lot. They were dumping back and forth dangerously in their end zone. Still in the air. And this time Stanley Peterson comes down with it.
Roughnecks still on offense. That one's going to go over the top and a grab. A beautiful play from Peterson as he finishes another point for the Roughnecks.
What a great grab from Stanley Peterson. That backhand looked like it was dumping, it was curving pretty severely up in the air, but Stanley did a great job reading that. And
I thought for sure that disc was going to fly over Peterson and into the back of the end zone. I thought the Roughnecks might have grabbed it in the back, but instead Peterson went up and said, I'm doing this alone. This is my goal.
Exactly. I thought the receiver behind Peterson may have a chance to pick up that trash there, but nope. Said, I'm taking this trash today.
Stanley Peterson taking out the trash.
I think there's going to be a lot of trash that teams come down with, and you know what that's known as is if the disc is intended for a specific receiver and another receiver catches it as a result, then usually that's called you're looking for that trash that's coming down. Not that we think the throw Roughnecks are bad. They're very good. They're very good.
So Jackson's going to send this one deep for the Roughnecks on the pull. The Soul finding themselves in a little bit of a hole. Rhyming not intended. As they'll continue their possession.
That was a great leading throw to Chase Cunningham. That's what you call putting it to space.
Bennett has it now, looking across the field, finding Pollock. Pollock back to Cunningham. Cunningham making a move in the left-handed throw in the back of the end zone, looking for Bennett, and he'll come up with it. A beautiful throw from Cunningham, left-handed, and to Bennett for the Soul's goal.
The Soul did a great job keeping the disc moving up along this away sideline over here, and so that got the Roughnecks on their heels a little bit. So Chase Cunningham was in that power position, so he had a little bit more time to look for his throw and make that completion to Mitchell Bennett.
So 7-4 now the score for the Roughnecks. Dallas doing a good job getting out to a quick start here. 2 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Still a lot of ultimate left to play.
And I'm sure the players, you know, wish some of their throws were better, but at this high level, you can see how the offenses can still be run pretty smoothly, even in these gusty conditions.
And that disc will just fly straight out past the hill and onto
Past the sidewalk.
Concrete. Wow, that was a deep throw. Some super lengthy pulls today, and we'll
Yes.
see those going from left to right on your screen. Of course, Dallas in the red and navy blue half and half jerseys. The Soul with the white jerseys with the navy or royal blue sleeves. Dallas now going from right to left. Smith with it. Bennett looking for Costello, and both of them diving out. The Soul will win that battle.
Put it
Costello.
to space a little bit too far into space, but it happens.
Malachek unable to grab that one, and that one's going to be out of the reach. Looks like a for sure goal to Joel Clinton, but he was unable to reach up and make the grab.
And that's the blessing and the curse of the downwind. So the downwind, you're available for a lot of open hucks, but at the same time, you really have to target your release point. Otherwise, the disc just sails right out the back, as we saw with the pull, and then that throw.
There's going to be a couple whistles blown on that far sideline. Might have stepped out. So they'll reset. Malachek with it. Brendan Muffin, Malachek. Actually, it's going to be a turnover, so the Soul will regain possession.
I think it may have been a travel call.
And coming out of nowhere.
Good
to
grab
make
from
the play was
Mathis.
Michael Mathis. He'll send it in to Cunningham, and Cunningham will finish it off. And we'll find Logan Kinney in the end zone. And that'll make it 7-5. The Roughneck advantage starting to shrink here after 2 straight Soul goals.
And those are the opportunities that the Soul have to capitalize on. You get a turnover 20 yards outside of your end zone going downwind. I mean, come on. We're pros here. We can do this. They're pros. They're pros. And rightly so, they did a great job converting. So now it's the Dallas O-line that really needs to answer. They have the downwind advantage as well. It seems like their offensive points have had probably 5 or fewer passes so far. So it'll be interesting to see if they keep going with that attempt or try and work it up. I would think that they would continue with the few passes because that's worked for them so far.
So it's 7-5 as that disc will hit the ground and just roll all the way to Brandon Muffin Malachek. He'll send it to Jackson. Jackson over the middle to Peterson. Peterson and Kai Marshall drops it. An uncharacteristic mistake there from Marshall. The Soul have an opportunity. Lewis with it. sending it deep over the top, and it's not going to be handled. And so the Roughnecks will get it with just under a minute remaining. The clock's still ticking, 7-5 the lead here in the first quarter.
And the Soul yelling to their teammates on the field, they're going to huck it, they're going to huck it. So trying to be in position, aware of that last back scenario. Thomas Slack kind of trying to look for that
there
space.
It is, going downfield and just out of the reach of Thomas Slack. Slack with some of that closing speed, just too far out of his reach.
Yeah, from our perspective here, it looked like he actually was going to be able to catch up to it, but I think it was just too far in front of him. But now the Soul have the entire field they need to work up.
With 12 seconds remaining, looking downfield, they're going to look over the top. The Roughnecks will grab that one. Kai Marshall's going to have one last shot. Ben Laurie with it, too. Last chance for the Roughnecks and a score, but that disc is going to fly harmlessly out of the end zone and into the soccer field adjacent to our Roughneck field. So at the end of the first, it is 7-5 in favor of the Dallas Roughnecks. As we head to the second quarter, Emmy, what have you seen so far in this one? The wind playing a huge factor. It's the windiest home game by far that the Roughnecks have held here at the Five Star Sports Complex. But what other than that have you seen from these two teams so far?
I think the Dallas D-line has done a good job with following the disc. So whether it's a huck that is intended for an offensive, when they're on offense for a receiver, continuing with that. The person who comes down with it might not have been the intended receiver, but everyone knows that disc goes up in the air, that's my disc. The Soul have done a good job when they were down 3 or 4 points, they didn't let themselves stay in that hole, but have kept it interesting, taken advantage of the downwind possessions that they've had, and it's going to be a really exciting second quarter.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. It's a close game, 2-goal difference right now. It was originally 7-3, and then the Soul took advantage of 2 straight points, and so they were able to close it out. They'll end up getting the disc to start the second quarter, so it'll be interesting to see if they can take advantage of it and close this lead a little bit more.
Exactly. And another product I know we'd all like to take advantage of is Drunken Cow Jerky. Drunken Cow Jerky uses 100% Texas certified beef with no artificial meats, fillers, or preservatives. They make jerky with fresh ingredients such as onion, garlic, and several types of pepper, depending on your spicy preferences. Drunken Cow Jerky gets their name from a unique process where they soak the meat in whiskey for 24 hours along with 14 other spices. Drunken Cow Jerky is at our games, at the Dallas Roughnecks games, selling their premier beef jerky. So if somebody asks you, where's the beef? You say, well, where's Drunken Cow Jerky?
Exactly, yeah.
That's who's got the beef. Drunken Cow Jerky, drunkencowjerky.com.
So the second quarter just about to get underway. It looks like Matt Jackson will have the pull for the Roughnecks.
So he will be pulling upwind. I think that has been, well, that and the various hucks that have, kind of curved. This one similarly. Matt races up to his own pull to make sure it doesn't roll back the other way too much. You know it's windy when you can run up to your own pull and catch up with it.
And he made it look easy. He has some closing speed as well. So the Soul with it, a little contact after the throw. They'll let it slide. Orloff with it now. They'll send it back to Loscorn. Loscorn guarded by Dalton Smith.
The Roughnecks, it appears, are playing a force straight up defense to kind of avoid those big hucks.
Caleb Danicor missing that one.
Right, and as a result of that force straight up, it causes the offense to have more of these short points, which results in a turnover.
So the Roughnecks with it now. Dalton Smith looking for.
This is a situation where Dallas still needs to spread the field deep up and turnover.
Yeah, another turnover. Like you said, though, they need to spread out the field.
They do need to spread out that field. Even though that upwind huck is difficult, that option still needs to be there to keep the defense spread out.
So the Soul have it right in front of their end zone, and it'll be sent up the middle and to Mitchell Bennett for the Austin Soul goal. So there's 3 unanswered points from the Soul to make it only a 1-point deficit. Roughnecks still lead it 7-6, but watch out, here comes Austin.
Exactly, and this is similar to the start of the first quarter where the teams were trading points back and forth, but the breaks are crucial. This quarter, Dallas started going on the upwind. The previous quarter, Austin started going upwind. So it'll be interesting to see if that pattern continues. Whatever team starts with the downwind gets that advantage, gets those easier scores.
And if you're Dallas, you don't want to let this Austin team get into some momentum, get into a rhythm, because they just came off their first win of the season. They lost by 1 to both North Carolina teams, which is extremely frustrating, but at the same time, they played well on the road. So now they have a chance to get their second win of the season. It's a rivalry game. They would love to pay back the Roughnecks for the first 2 losses that the Soul had, and that's going to be another knockdown by Wolf there. Wolf will regain it, quickly turning it around as they are now on the offensive side. Cunningham with it, sends it back.
And this is an instance where the Dallas O-line can really play some great D and forces a turn probably 25 yards outside of their end zone.
That's a huge turnover. See if Dallas can take advantage of it. Brandon Malachek in the end zone. Nope, just outside of the end zone. So he'll have to make one last play, and he will, as he finds Kai Marshall for the score. And that's exactly what you needed from Dallas, having the Soul with the 3 unanswered goals and then coming back and not allowing that momentum to continue. They had the possession, good defensive stand, and then taking advantage of it on their own side.
And it's rare for the Dallas O-line to turn it over, but kudos to them for keeping that pressure on defense so that they didn't give up. They can get the disc back and convert.
So a big goal from the Roughnecks, 8-6 now, just over 10 minutes remaining in the second quarter. And it looks like Ted Barnett is going to be the one pulling for the Roughnecks. A nice day overall. The wind is definitely playing a factor. Not a cloud in the sky, though, and a good crowd on hand here in the Colony. Beautiful day overall. The wind hopefully will die down. It's starting to die down.
A lot of moms here for Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of players from the Dallas Ultimate Association, since it's DUA Day at the Roughnecks. Seen a lot of people in their club and league gear.
Oh, and a diving play by Pollock to keep that possession alive. And they're going to call it travel. Pollock not happy with that call. Must have picked up his pivot foot or something to enforce that. The Soul not happy with that one. So the Roughnecks will regain possession, going against the wind once again. And that'll be snagged by Chris Larberg.
So now this gives Dallas that opportunity. Matt Bennett with that big flick huck up in the air to Kai Marshall.
And Marshall will come down with it, and the play will be made on the other end. And a Kai Marshall throw to Chris Larberg for the score. Beautiful play, going up and making the play and then continuing it with the assist.
Yes, and that was really great on Chris Larberg to follow the play and be there right away as soon as Kai catches it. Doesn't let the Austin defense catch up, set up, and stop him on the goal line.
Just like that, it is back to a 3-point Roughneck advantage. Larberg happy with his score, high-fiving his teammates. And the Roughnecks will give it back to the Soul. Another break going in favor of the Roughnecks.
Very crucial break to give them that 3-point lead. So Ben Laurie will send this one deep into the wind, high in the air. It'll
come down just in front of the end zone, roll a little bit into the end zone as Cunningham will corral it for the Soul. Clutton has it now. Back to Cunningham, dumping it back off.
Dylan Larberg doing a great job keeping Chase Cunningham from trying to get that flick up.
Clutton with it. Once again, they'll send this one deep. That'll catch up in the wind. Up in the air, and it'll be knocked down.
Jake Anderson nearly tipped it straight into Logan Kinney, but was moving a little bit too fast, so it hit the ground.
Yeah, I had to hold my breath there. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a D. I didn't want to get excited if it wasn't, but Jake Anderson coming across and knocking that one down. And out of reach, and the Roughnecks will grab that one. Ben Laurie in for the score. We'll look at another replay of that one. Ben Laurie going over the top of the Soul defender and making the play for another score. And there's another break, the third straight for the Roughnecks, makes it 10-6. And like you said, that's how it started in the first.
And it's a game of runs. It's the teams taking advantage of the momentum that they have. So Austin had a bit of a run to start the second quarter. Now Dallas seems to be on a run right now, but let's just be interesting to see how Austin responds back.
We'll look at another replay of this one. Almost patrolling that like a center fielder, trying to run around and grab that ball on the run.
Right, does a great job.
Yeah, an incredible job there by Laurie. As looked like Barnett sent that one deep.
That was a really great pull.
That's what I was
from
thinking.
Ted Barnett.
Jackson, or that's not Jackson.
The other man bun.
Man bun threw me off.
Jack DJ Riggins.
Oh, and a diving effort from Chris Larberg, and that'll be a collision called. That's interesting. I don't know about that one. Loscorn will take the disc and advance it 10 yards. What do you think about that call, Amy?
I think that was a great effort from Chris Larberg. He needs to do that. I'm not surprised in the least that a foul was called there.
There would be a foul there, too. That one was a little bit more blatant. Loscorn was able to come up with it. A little slow getting up after Larberg ran into him.
He landed really hard on his left side. So gets that 10-yard penalty advantage.
So the Soul with it just outside of their end zone, and they will take advantage of it with the goal to Rory Orloff.
And double wide teammate. So Rory had the strike cut for the score. He was being guarded by his fellow Austin double wide teammate, Steven Darrow. So, Darrow was really close to him, but at the same time, when Rory made that cut, you could just see on Steven's face, yep, that's what he does. That's these are my teammates in a different division, but.
And that's what makes this rivalry have potential to be a great one, because so many of these players play together on those club teams and around other leagues around the world. So it's definitely got almost like a sibling type feel. Like
it does.
You want to beat your younger sibling, or you want to beat your older sibling, or however you want to look at it. You want to beat up on those closest to you.
And it's not only on the club scene, but also on the college scene. There are several players that play for Texas Tough. There are others that play for A&M Dozen. They had college regionals last weekend. So they're rivals on both teams in college, and similar situation.
So the Roughnecks now trying to answer. Malachek on the far sideline.
Austin continuing this double team along the sideline.
Marshall in the back of the end zone looking for Peterson, and an easy goal as Peterson was able to get around the back side of the defense for the score. The celebration from the Roughnecks as they get their 11th goal of the game.
And Kai Marshall did a great job getting that disc off the sideline. The Roughnecks had 2 or 3 passes that they were able to throw even though they were being double teamed, but thankfully Marshall saw Stanley Peterson streaking in the middle and was able to throw a great backhand to him.
So 11-7 now the score. Dallas looking for another break.
And Dallas can't stay complacent at any point.
No, not at all.
No lead is safe, especially in this wind. It takes one strangely tipped pass or a throw that the wind catches at the last second, and it's an unexpected drop that could result in a costly point.
And already the Soul have shown that they can go on a run, as that one's going to be just out of the reach of Anderson.
Anderson playing far off of Walsh just in case to kind of not let those big throws off.
Loscorn finding Pollock, and that one's going to just go harmlessly to the ground.
Great tip by Matt Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson came across. Bennett looked like he was going to try and switch direction and get it. Dalton Smith downfield, unable to grab it.
It looked like Dalton reacted a little bit late, so he was having to catch up to it, and then the disc just dropped.
It looked like he was also hesitating on whether or not to lay out for that one. He was trying to find out if it was a safe spot for him to go for it, but instead he decided not to, and it dropped to the ground. So another break for the Soul as they're going to try and send this one deep to Bennett, and the contact will send that disc to the ground. Some of the Soul wanted a call there, but both were going up to the disc and both kind of timed it a little early.
I think they both had equal play on the disc, but like you said, another part of a foul call is the disc catchable?
Exactly.
And it did not seem like it was catchable.
This time Jackson looking downfield for Larberg, and he's going to clean up the, oh, he
so
dropped
close.
it. From our
Dylan
angle, it looked
Larberg
like he had
attempts to keep
made the
possession
grab.
alive. Falls just out of his
An
reach.
incredible try there from Dylan Larberg. So Pollock with it now for the Soul, about 20 yards out. Sends it forward to Bennett. Back to Pollock. Back to Bennett. Little pitch and catch here. Bennett in the end zone, and he
Right outside the end zone.
right outside the end zone, the Loscorn trying to find something, and Bennett will grab that one for the score. That'll make it 11-8. 11-7, excuse me.
Score is now
Oh, it is
Dallas
11-8.
11,
I was right.
Soul
I
8.
just can't second guess myself.
Yes, the Soul, again, taking advantage of those downwind opportunities, and they also did a good job keep being patient with the disc. So you have Rory Orloff in one corner, and then Mitchell Bennett comes around the other, so not trying to force the throw, but really look for that open look.
So the Soul looking to continue their success as they're about to send it deep back to the Roughnecks. 11-8 the score. The wind still blowing. I was going to say a minute ago that the wind was going to die down a little bit, but as I was thinking that, it started to pick back up. So the wind still playing a huge factor in this one. A little bit more low scoring than we are used to.
The rolling pull.
It'll be knocked down. So Roughnecks with it.
Matt Bennett staying very calm. I've said this before on the broadcast. I've looked forward to a windy day when Matt Bennett is playing because he is such a creative thrower.
Scoober.
He had a meg last week. This was a great throw to Casey Hogg in the end zone.
Oh, Casey Hogg, look at you.
Casey's a great one. Practice player brought up.
That's exciting to see him score to make it a 4-point advantage for the Roughnecks, as he was able to get behind the defense all alone back in the back of the end zone, and who was able to receive that disc with ease.
Did a great job creating that space. So happy for Casey playing his first game as a Roughneck tonight. I'd like to thank another one of our sponsors, Shakerton's. Shakerton's is a swanky neighborhood bar up in the Colony, actually right, hop, skip, and a throw away from us. Restaurant, bar, and lounge in the Austin Ranch luxury apartment complex. They focus on craft cocktails with fresh ingredients. Check out shakertons.com for their patio, their flatbread, salads, burgers, and something for your sweet tooth.
That sounds really good right now.
No, I like something for my sweet tooth.
Yeah.
Don't say no to sweets.
Orloff with it for the Soul, down by 4. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the half. This is going to be sent deep over the top of the defense. and it's going to fly out of play. So the Soul and Walsh will not have a chance at that one.
Sometimes the wind is called the 8th defender on the field, and I think this was an instance where that certainly was the case.
So the Roughnecks will regain possession.
Kevin Christian, the lefty, OU grad.
Sends it to Barnett. Barnett back to Larberg. This is going to be ripped deep.
And that's a Matt Bennett special right there.
Way up in the air.
Looking for Reed Bacon.
And nothing's going to come of it. Wolf comes down with it for the Soul. Over the top to Brooks.
Jared Wolf answering with his own scuba.
Brooks with it now. Oh, and Matt Jackson thought he had a play on it, but instead Bennett comes up with it after he slips down. The Soul on the far side, just underneath that Roughneck bleacher, and the diving effort's going to come up just short, and the Soul and Caleb Denacor will come down with the score.
And Steven Darrow was in a great spot, but he just slipped, which made it difficult for him to get that D. Austin takes advantage of it for a crucial score.
So that'll make it 12-9 in favor of the Roughnecks. Soul will send it back.
Caleb Denacor on the goal, assisted by Andrew Walsh. That's Denacor's third goal in the game. Somebody shut him down.
So with just under 3.5 minutes left in the half, this is going to be the chance for either team to really carry that momentum one way or the other, and could drastically change the game in either direction depending on what happens the next few points.
Yeah, the Soul have a chance to really make some noise at the end of the half, take some momentum in. They might not gain the lead, but with the momentum they could have a chance to strike. Soul definitely within striking distance right now as Laurie has it, dumps it right back off the slack.
And Dallas is doing a great job of keeping the disc moving. Nobody is hanging on to the disc for more than probably 2 counts right now, and that allows for these openings.
So Kai Marshall from Ben Laurie for the score. Like you said, no one really holding on to the disc, just quick passes here and there, short passes, working it up the field. That's kind of what you have to do sometimes.
And the Dallas offense is doing a good job of combining that with the big hucks that they're putting up. So it forces Austin to defend both options, which makes it very difficult. That's why Austin is playing a little further back off of the team on that point, just in case there was a huck that went up. Well, then Dallas, recognizing, took advantage.
So it is now 13-9, just under 3 minutes remaining. The Roughnecks will send it deep back to the Soul. The Soul trying to get to double digits before halftime. That's the goal for the Soul right now.
I think the Dallas D-line would like to answer that. They have something to say about that, I'm sure. So sometimes another strategy is to have the pole land on the sideline like that. There it landed out, so not preferred, but you want it right outside, still in, but on the sideline, so it's a more difficult angle for the team to work. But when it lands out like that, they get it in the middle of the field.
It's like the sideline in basketball or in football, just working as an extra defender. And yes, you can step over the line as long as your pivot foot's inbound, but still with the fact of having that side closed off, makes it harder on a player to make something happen. That one's going to be knocked down, but still corralled by Brooks. Pollock with it on his knees. He'll send that one into the end zone, and a catch will be made.
I think Jake Anderson was looking for the pick call there just because his defender was Jeff Loscorn was just so wide open, but no call.
Yeah, we'll look at this again. So Pollock grabs it there, looking for Loscorn. Loscorn coming up slow again. He came up slow earlier. I don't know if he's just tired or if there was something cramping or anything. He looks fine when he got up.
He's part of the backbone of the Soul, so they're a lot of touches, a lot of very aggressive play, so it's both ways. He has a lot of responsibility when his team's on offense, but then he has a bit of a target on his back as far as the Dallas defense goes. They are going to put their most aggressive player, which I don't know who I would call their most aggressive player. All of their defenders are extremely aggressive, but just make him work harder, and that's something that I think he's going to face for the rest of the game.
Cunningham going to send this one not so deep. It'll kind of roll all the way. As that'll stay on the sideline.
So the Brandon Malachek with the hammer, or more of a scoober out of the double team there.
So Costello with it now. Gives it back to Christian.
Kevin Christian sending a laser into Brandon Malachek, and
the
thankfully
same
Malachek
thing.
was ready for it.
Oh, that was going to be knocked down. The Soul have
The rare hand block on Brandon Malachek.
Yeah, Logan Kinney was able to get a hand in there and make the play. Cunningham with it now. There's going to be a timeout called by the Soul with 1:57 remaining on the clock. Only down by 3, a big opportunity here for the Soul as they look to gain some momentum. We talked about it a second ago.
So no doubt the Soul see this as a very crucial opportunity. We see this as a crucial opportunity to thank Golden Tickets, one of our sponsors.
Like the segue there, that was nice.
Oh, you saw that? For over 25 years, Golden Tickets has been one of the biggest sources of tickets for the biggest events when other ticket providers are sold out. Visit their website at goldentickets.com to learn more and get info on the latest events. Golden Tickets, they are a longtime sponsor and partner, and we hope for a lot of continued partnership with them.
For hangouts and get-togethers with friends. Be sure to check out Shakerton's off Windhaven.
So the situation is 1:57 remaining on the clock here before halftime. The Soul have possession down by 3 on the road here at the 5-Star Sports Complex in the Colony. Dallas Roughnecks undefeated on the season, 5-0, one of 5 remaining undefeated AUDL teams. They also haven't trailed at any point in the entire season, which is a feat in itself.
Yes.
And then the Soul coming in 1-3, but also coming off their first win of the season, and then losing 2 straight, 1-4, excuse me, losing 2 straight in North Carolina, both by 1 point. The Soul turned that one over.
Now the Roughnecks have closer than half field to try and convert the minute 35 left.
Got to take advantage of these opportunities. It's going to be over the top crowd just outside of the end zone by Bennett. There's going to be a whistle blown.
Contact call.
So it looks like they will center the disc on the goal line. Bennett was looking into the end zone whenever that contact call was made. So Bennett has it again. Goes over the top for Marshall, and Marshall with the score.
Perfectly placed Blady backhand.
Oh, that's Laurie.
To Laurie, to Ben Laurie.
Ben Laurie, the backwards hat and the long hair will make the goal for the Roughnecks. 14-10 now.
Great patience. You can see Bennett's looking for a couple options who he thought he was going to hit, wasn't open. He sees, okay, I think I can put some angle on this disc and get it to Ben Laurie.
We saw a situation like that last week, but instead of having Bennett handling the disc, it was Jimmy Mickle with the backwards throw. I don't even know what that would necessarily, what the real term would that would be.
I'm trying to remember if it was the chicken wing. May have been a chicken wing or a push pass in there.
But regardless of what it was a great pass on the AUDL plays of the week.
So an unsportsmanlike call called on the Soul after this point, which is why the Soul are pulling from the back of the end zone, and the Roughnecks are pulling from outside their end zone.
Looks like there's another call. That disc came all the way back.
I'm sure Ben Laurie would like to take the pull back. Now it appears to be an offsides call on Dallas, So
that
Austin will take it on the reverse brick. Or well, actually, it looks like they're taking it from center field.
Interesting. So that unsportsmanlike call definitely didn't hurt the Soul.
It's kind of negated with the offsides call.
Cunningham has it, sending it up the middle, and a defense there from Jake Anderson knocks that one down. And he's going to call a foul on himself with the integrity
Jake
rule.
Anderson invokes the integrity rule and switches the possession back to Austin Soul.
It's kind of disappointing. I thought that was a great
Good
play
guy, Jake
from
Anderson.
Anderson.
It was a great play,
but that's what Ultimate's about.
I agree. The disc was not in rotation when Jake Anderson hit it.
Oh, and that's going to be dropped just out of the hands of Clutton. That's his second drop in the end zone so far in this one.
And it's those downwinds, the angle, and they're moving very fast.
So there's just seconds remaining on the clock. That one will drop to the ground. 13 seconds ticking down. They're going to stop the clock.
10 seconds left in the half.
Actually, it's going to be a timeout called by the Soul.
Austin Soul.
The Soul's coach pointing at the clock, hoping to get a couple seconds back after a little bit of time ticked off since he called the timeout.
So another opportunity for the Soul to cut the lead.
Texas Two-Finger
2-3.
weekend of June 25th and 26th at UT Dallas.
So we're so excited at halftime coming up. We are giving out some awesome awards in honor of DUA Day. I have the pleasure of being able to give out those awards. We're giving out 2 Hall of Fame awards and 1 very, very special Spirit Award. Whether you are in the Dallas community or not in the Dallas community, tuning in to our stream tonight. First, thank you for tuning in to our stream. Second, you won't want to miss this really special award ceremony coming up at halftime.
And you're actually the one presenting the award. So
I am.
As soon as halftime's over, you'll hurry down and get down on the field. So
gonna do a little cross-field sprint of my own to get over there.
So 12 seconds remaining on the clock. The Soul have possession.
Restart on the release.
They'll look to gain some momentum going into the half, down by 4 right now.
So it's interesting. They're setting up with 2 back. The double team.
Cunningham can send it forward. The Soul have a chance. That one's going to be knocked down. And Matt Jackson's just going to let, Dalton Smith's going to let the clock run out. And that will do it for the first half. Dallas, without their big 6, still able to come out and make some noise on both sides of the disc, defensively and offensively. 14-10 the score as we head to the half. And we are going to head down onto the field.
Yeah.
As the Roughnecks coach, Paige, what you got for us?
I'm here with Roughnecks coach Patrick Eberly. Patrick, y'all didn't have your top 6 players going into the game, so what was your plan?
Our main plan was to play within ourselves and just walk it in on O. And I think you saw that. We just walked it in on O most every possession. So that was clean. D, it's almost the same D we've had all year, so that was easy to do.
Was it tough morally for your team to go into this game without your best players, or were they ready for the challenge?
Absolutely not. We have an awesome practice atmosphere. We've got a good, healthy competition with those guys that we're missing, but they were all supportive of us from Columbia, texting us and things like that, and we're all pumped to play this.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck in the next half. Back to y'all.
With that, I'd like to turn it over to the Dallas Roughnecks owners and to the Dallas Ultimate Association board members.
Thank you so much, Brooke, and thank you guys all for coming out for DUA.
And thanks again, Paige, after that interview. The Roughnecks with the 4-goal lead as we head into halftime. So 14-10. Dallas, of course, undefeated on the season. The Soul coming in 1-4, but the Soul not necessarily any kind of slouch in this Southern Division. They lost both of their road games in North Carolina by 1. They're hanging tough here. The Roughnecks a couple times had a run, but at the same time, the Soul would answer. At one point, the Soul had 4 unanswered goals that brought them from being down by, it was down 7-3, and they were able to come back and make that a game again. So the Roughnecks up 14-10, and we will go down on the field. field. We were just talking about the halftime ceremony, and we'll go down and join them during the halftime break.
And adults. We sponsor 3 club teams as they help represent our organization nationwide. And the board works on strategic initiatives to grow our sport. So I'd like to introduce our other board members. So we have President Melissa Battis. Hello.
We have Darius Tay, who works as our club liaison. We have Kurt Riffle. We have Freddie Fossier, the 4th, who is our director of leagues. Have Micah Rafis as our secretary. And then we have our awesome ownership group for the Roughnecks here as well, Ivy and Young Byun, as well as Jim and Laura Garinger. And the partnership that they provide with the DUA is just amazing. So let's give our board a hand. So tonight is a really special night as what we hope becomes a long tradition starts here. The DUA Hall of Fame and a very special Spirit Award. So we received many nominations from so many of you, so thank you for sending those in to us. And these awards are Lifetime Achievement Awards for those who have contributed significantly to the Ultimate community and especially to those DUA programs. So thank you first for nominating your friends and your teammates. And we're excited for the 2 gentlemen who are going to be part of our inaugural class. So they're going to be receiving these really cool wooden engraved discs with our new DUA logo. This is our logo, yay. So our first recipient is Jeff JJ Jordan. Jeff, come on out. So JJ started playing Ultimate 38 years ago. He first competed in freestyle and guts competitions, then competed in Ultimate the next year. A few of the many teams JJ's played for include Duke University Ultimate, Oklahoma City Jam, Chicago Czech, Dallas Open, and Texas Twisters in the Masters Division. He served as the food guy for Winter League for a decade, DUA Club President for several years, Tournament Director for the USA U Club National Championships the past 3 years, and is the Texas State Youth Coordinator currently. He's been an instrumental figure in establishing Youth Ultimate. So when I asked JJ what he likes about playing, he says it's the friendships and the sheer joy. JJ lives in Capel with his wife Lisa and children Aaron, LJ, and EJ. Congrats, JJ. So our next recipient is Rex O'Quinn. Rex has played for 32 years. 32 years. Started playing in Huntsville, Alabama, when several of his coworkers invited him to play. Several of my coworkers are actually here tonight to extend this invitation to all of them as well to play. So he's played for a long, long list of teams, most notably Chain Lightning out of Atlanta, Dixie Chickens, the Southern team for Poultry Days, Dallas for Dallas Ultimate, a very creatively named team, Grassy Knoll, Salad, Hang Time, and Mileage. Hang Time was a perennial championship contender and won 2nd place at Nationals and at Worlds. So as an, and many times. As an organizer of Ultimate, Rex was the Winter League Poobah for many years and has done just about everything from scheduling fields, lining fields, tournament party, oh no, it went out, what do we do? Rex has been at the helm for all that. He ran Nationals and even co-ed regionals in Dallas. Rex says what he likes most about playing is that the vast majority of players adhere to spirit of the game. Rex lives in Capel with his wife Diana and kids Caitlin and Matthew. Thank you, Rex. So, just like Rex said, spirit of the game is a foundational element of the sport, where players hold themselves to a high level of integrity, regardless of the level of play, whether it's pickup or whether it's out here professionally. The Dallas Roughnecks owner, Jim Garinger, really believes in spirit of the game. Jim, tell us why spirit of the game is so important to you.
Okay, I was hoping Emily would handle this for me, but spirit's been a huge part of my life since 1979. We started playing Ultimate here in North Dallas, and I had a lot of options what sports I could have played, but I always chose Ultimate in the long run because of the fact that you can self-officiate and you can leave it on the field too. Everybody, the key part of Ultimate is like enjoy play. That's one of the rules. So that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yes, well, thank you, Jim. So, when the DUA board was working to come up with this Spirit Award, we knew it needed to be named for somebody who really embodies the spirit of the game. So we wanted to give out an award that was in this person's honor. So, Jim, we created the Big Jim Spirit Award that we're going to give out every year. So, and I think we all know all the spirit that Big Jim exhibits. So, now we have the Big Jim Spirit Award, but we needed to give it to our first recipient. Mark Graham. Mark, please come out here, Mark. Mark is accompanied by his Grandmasters team, Big DNR, all the Big DNR guys, you guys come out here too. So Mark started playing in 1987 when he was throwing an aerobie disc around in a park in northern Canada. An Ultimate player approached him to try out the sport and he was hooked. When he moved to Australia, a few years later, he connected with a brother and a sister who met through the Ultimate circuit and got connected. So he was playing in leagues, tournaments, even won Australian Nationals. With that brother and sister, he ended up dating and then marrying the sister, Rowena, and they've been married for 22 years. They've lived in Dallas since 1989 and played Winter League for many years, even becoming the unofficial Girl Scout providers to their daughters, Kelly and Amy. I have bought a lot of Thin Mints and Samoas from your daughters. They also play at Allen League. Mark's played for a number of Dallas teams, including Drunken Lemurs, Janor, and Crude. In fact, on Crude, Mark played alongside a very young and now current Dallas Roughnecks player, number 12, Kevin Christian. Mark transitioned to playing Grandmasters, the 40 and over division, a few years ago, and assembled a DFW-based team, Big DNR, whose members are here today. At regionals, they broke seed and through an upset victory, earned a bid to nationals. At nationals, with only 12 and a half guys, they beat teams with rosters twice their size to come in 10th in the nation. It was awesome. So 2 weeks after Grandmasters Nationals, Mark started having trouble walking. Then he wasn't able to run. So in December, after 5 months of tests, Mark was diagnosed with ALS. So now he uses this awesome scooter to get around, but Mark's positive attitude and encouraging spirit inspires all of us. Personally, I played on an Allen League team with Mark a couple of seasons ago. We won the championship, and it was an honor and a blast to share the field with you, Mark. It was great. So Mark and Rowena are season ticket holders, and through all these years, still love this sport, are great supporters of the sport, and Mark, you are a true embodiment of what it means for Spirit of the Game. So we want you to be the first recipient of the Big Jim Spirit Award. Yes, so the Big DNR is going to have a cheer, but we need your help. So on 3, we're all going to yell Big DNR. So I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, Big DNR, okay? On 7, oh, and we're in Dallas. On 7, okay. So, 1, 2, 7, Big DNR! So let's give a hand to all of our award recipients, to JJ, to Rex, and to Mark. Thank you guys, and I'm so excited for a great second half. Let's go Roughnecks.
Send it down the page really fast. Paige, what you got on the sideline? having some audio issues here today, the wind playing a factor in our production as well. Paige, we're going to go back to you and see what you got on the sideline.
Do you just start back over? I'm here with Roughnecks owner Jim Garansher, where he just found out that a Spirit Award would be given annually in his honor. Jim, what does that mean to you?
Well, it's pretty special. I've played Ultimate for a long time, and this is one of the better awards I've ever won, for sure.
All right, and we're a couple of games now into the season. What can you tell me about how you feel that the Roughnecks are doing this far?
So far, we're 5-0, and tonight we're doing great. Our team is very unselfish. I've heard that word numerous times, and I can't think of a better way to have our team defined. So.
And we talked to Laura the first game about her own Ultimate team. Laura, give us an update on how that's going.
Well, Melee made it to Nationals, so that's exciting. And that's in like a few weeks, so hopefully we do well there. But that's about it.
All right, thank y'all so much. Thank you. Back to y'all.
So one more.
Thanks again, Paige and Jim. An incredible story down on the field from DUA and everybody involved in the awards. A lot of fun to watch, and a lot of fun to watch for the Roughnecks in the first half. 14-10, the lead for the Roughnecks as they're up by 4. We're looking at some highlights from the first half all over the field. And the Roughnecks have played good defensively and offensively. Amy, what have they done specifically that has caught your eye during the first half?
I think the Roughnecks have really maintained that intensity. So there's several discs that have been contested up in the air. They've been right there for it. They've been very aggressive on defense with those diving attempts. And then they also have switched it up. Downwind, they don't huck every single time. They also don't work it up with lots of passes every single time. So that really keeps Austin on their toes as far as how they're going to cover them.
Yeah, and one thing that I saw in the first half that played crucial was, one, the intensity that you were talking about, and two, a couple of runs that the Roughnecks were able to go on at the end of the first, or in the middle of the first quarter, in the middle of the second quarter. They were able to go on to a couple of runs and had a lot of different breaks in a row, and that's really been the difference in this game. Austin has shown that they can have a run themselves, and if Dallas can continue to stay up by 3 or 4 goals and not allow the Soul to have any kind of confidence coming back, it could play a huge role here in the second half.
Exactly, and I think it matters a lot to contain those runs that the Soul are inevitably going to go on. The wind, I think, is dying down slightly since it.
Don't jinx it, Amy.
I know. The wind is now going to definitely pick up now that we mentioned that.
Well, the sun is going down, so that might play a factor. That one's going to be tipped out of the hand of Malachek. Disc will be picked up by the Soul, and they'll continue.
So now the Soul are working upwind, but they have less than half field.
Hillis with it now. Sending it back, and that one's going to be intercepted by Matt Jackson. Jackson coming out of nowhere, making the play, and let's see if he can get the bookends, but instead Cunningham gets a hand on it, and Jackson can't go and grab it.
The backhand was a little low. That was such a line drive that it was right in the pathway for Cunningham.
So the Soul will regain possession just outside of the Roughneck end zone. And will continue sending that one deep. Looking in the air, and the D will be made. Flying out of nowhere was Stanley Peterson.
You might call that the Stanley Peterson special. Flying out of nowhere, very athletic play against somebody who has a couple inches on him.
Lori with it now, sending it up the field. In the back of the end zone, and the play will be made again by Stanley Peterson, really playing a huge role in this game, stepping in.
He is. Kai Marshall to Stanley Peterson, and Kai gave a good fist pump after that, and well deserved. That was a very well put, lots of great touch on that flick as well.
Yeah, as we look at the replay again from Marshall.
You can see a little bit of OI on that outside in.
So that'll make it 15-10, a good start from the Roughnecks. They've done a good job so far of taking advantage of quick starts in their quarters. We'll see if the Soul can answer back right here. Once again, thank you again for joining us on DallasRoughnecks.com here on the live stream, as weeks that I've been a part of this, I've learned and grown to love the game just from being around it. So I hope others watching this will get into it as much as I have.
So many athletic plays are made every week. I guess we haven't had very many layout grabs so far, but still lots of very athletic jumping height attempts.
Had a couple during the last game with Cassidy Rasmussen and Bo Kittredge both making some incredible diving catches on the AUDL top 10. But nothing super special this week. More textbook, just work the disc around and score points. And that's kind of what the Roughnecks has done well and the Soul are trying to do.
Pick called on Dallas, so the Soul were able to advance it 10 yards there.
They were able to dump it back off and basically get back to the same spot. So it didn't really help too much. Pollock with it now. His hat must have flown off somewhere in the field of play because it's weird seeing Pollock without a hat on the field. Well, Oscorn's going to get a little bit of connection. Barber, he'll still make the grab back to Pollock. Pollock not going to have any kind of room, and he might have pulled something. Maybe a nosebleed at some point. Lost the contact or something.
Oh, yeah, official timeout, and he was pointing to his eye. My right contact is going nuts because of this wind, so I can only imagine for players who are out there on the field.
I'm the same way right now.
For his sake, I hope it doesn't dry out. I have some eye drops if he needs.
So Pollock will get that one, get the contact, all situated, and the Soul will advance the disc. About 10 yards outside of their end zone. Oscorn with it. There's a streaking Bennett in the end zone. Didn't see him. Said he's going to hand it back off up the middle. It's going to be a whistle blown before Bennett caught that one. Going to see what the call is from our head referee.
So pick called.
So it looks like they'll move it back. Yes, they will.
So it's called on the Austin Soul. So move back 10 yards.
As they reset, Wolf with it. Dumps it back off the lost one. Wolf working back and forth out in front as Bennett's not going to be able to catch it. The trash up in the air. That'll be taken.
Another Bennett catches it instead.
It was aiming for Bennett and it got to Bennett, just not the right Bennett. Lame joke from my part, but that's okay. We're having fun.
Exactly. And that takes us to a timeout.
Yeah, the Roughnecks will call a timeout as they will reset their offense and see if they can make this a 6-point advantage. Emmy, what are some more sponsors we need to thank? Our incredible sponsors here at the Dallas
Yes, we have so many awesome sponsors that I want to thank. And we will in just a minute.
The wind playing a factor here as well.
A little bit of a factor. Well, early recognition is critical. Eric has been they're a fantastic partner for us. It's been a great few weeks for Ultimate. Last week, the Roughnecks were in North Carolina and took home some well-deserved wins from the Raleigh Flyer and Charlotte Express. But additionally, early recognition is critical. Hosted 3 youth clinics. The Dallas Roughnecks and the Raleigh Flyers partnered for a clinic with more than 900 kids. There were 2 other clinics last week, one in Oakland, California with more than 1,000 kids, and one here in Dallas with over 1,000 middle schoolers. That is 2,650 kids that learned about this great sport of Ultimate and the message of Eric being active, being body aware, and speaking up when things don't feel right with their body. Your donations go a long way in helping kids learn about Ultimate and learning about youth cancer symptoms.
That's awesome, seeing the community really being helped out by the sport of Ultimate. We talked about how great the sport was, but also the people that are involved. It's always nice to see Eric making some noise.
Exactly. And when Dallas played,
that was going to be intercepted by Cunningham. They're going to continue their possession. And the continuing play, Masola was able to grab that and toss it into the end zone for a Soul goal. Sorry to cut you off, Emmy, but an incredible play.
And that took some touch and control on Lucky's part, and then also his receiver downfield to anticipate the path of the disc and follow it that way. Well, what I was mentioning earlier related to the Soul is when Dallas played in Austin back in June, earlier that week, Dallas and Austin put on a youth clinic together for Eric. And it was really neat to see both teams coming together under that message of being active, being aware, and being prepared.
So that disc will be sent another roller. And the Roughnecks will pick it up after he goes back another 10 yards. Did a nice little circle. And
Roughnecks gained a few yards from that.
Yeah. Malachek will send it to Smith, and Smith unable to hold it after the diving effort from Cletton. Able to get a hand on it and deflect the pass. And it's going to be a timeout from the Soul as we'll take another break here. Just under 8 minutes remaining, 7:50 on the clock to be exact. The Soul down by 4, 15-11 as they'll get possession here and try and bring it back within 3.
We talked a little bit about Bear Water earlier. I have some more information about the product. So these guys leave it all out on the field, and what do they turn to quench their thirst? They turn to the ultra clean, refreshing Bear Water. Amp your performance with the ultra filtered Bear Water. No artificial flavors, colors, or sugars. Just delicious thirst quenching water. If you find yourself parched this summer from club teams or different tournaments, then you should check out Bear Water. They can have the water provided at your event. If you come to a Roughnecks game, they have a stand set up and they're giving out free water to Roughnecks fans. You can even enter in your name to win a ticket to a Roughnecks game. So Bear Water, great sponsors, great partners.
Yeah, Bear Water, we did a taste test. Paige did a taste test in the last game that we were here at home, and that was interesting to watch with her on the sideline. So the Soul will have the possession here on the near sideline just in front of us. Loscorn with it, guarded by Smith. Jackson and Orloff not too far behind. Orloff trying to get around Jackson. Loscorn with the disc. He's going to send it down the sideline to Orloff. Orloff stays barely in bounds with the pivot foot right on that line. Loscorn sending it over the top. Cunningham with it now.
It's a good switch there between Dylan Larberg and Ben Laurie.
Loscorn doing a good job of moving the disc up the field and continuing his motion. Cunningham with it now to Pollock. Pollock will finish it off to Orloff in the end zone for the score. So that brings it back within 3. That's the closest the Soul have been since the second quarter. Look at a replay here as Pollock was able to find Orloff. Orloff around Jackson. We talked about it from whenever he was right in front of us, how Jackson was trying to stay with Orloff to make his way and get around him. Let's take a second and go down to Paige on the sideline. Paige, what you got for us?
I'm here with Dan Emmons' mom. He's one of our players. Beth, Dan was telling me that you recently beat cancer, and so Eric is the sponsor, the charity of the AUDL, and I was wondering what that meant to you.
Oh, it's very important. Early detection is the key. I mean, that it makes all the difference in the world. I was very, very fortunate, to have an early detection, and the fact that they want to sponsor something like this and put it out there in front of people, particularly young people, it's awesome. It's wonderful. It's a lifesaver.
Sure, and how are you and Danny going to celebrate Mother's Day this weekend?
Big lunch. I'll be eating a lot. He'll be paying a lot.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out. Back to y'all up top.
Thanks, Paige. Of course, Mother's Day right around the corner tomorrow, so we definitely appreciate that. And the Roughnecks turn it over just on the opposite side of midfield, and the Soul will have a possession to try and make this a two-goal game.
And that drop there, you can definitely credit that to the 8th defender, the wind.
This one's going to be sent way over the top, and there's another D from the 8th defender.
Exactly. I definitely jinxed it. It is not getting any less windy.
No, not at all. You did jinx it coming out of that.
I did.
To blame this one on you.
And my contact got worse, so it was a double
that's not
jinx.
good.
Double
Yep.
jinx.
That is not good at all. What is good, though, is that the Roughnecks are up 15-12. Malachek with it now. He's going to send it to Jackson. Jackson corrals it. Covered by Mock. Jackson over the top looking for Marshall. Marshall's going to grab that one. Sending back to Malachek.
Dallas is doing a great job using the full field, so they're not trying to just force it right up the force side, but they've gone all the way across, and that allows for those big backhand breaks that Matt Costello had to Kai Marshall right here.
Yeah, Costello being sort of quiet in this one, able to make a nice play there and continue the possession. Malachek barely able to grab that. Back to Jackson. Jackson looking in the end zone for Marshall, and he makes the play!
What a grab!
Marshall! Absolutely incredible!
It looked like it was just going to be out of reach, but Kai Marshall, with that full extension, does a great job and a crucial goal for Dallas.
Marshall used every inch of his tall, lanky frame to make this play. As we look at it again, Jackson with the throw, Marshall with the one-handed diving play. Sports Center Top 10, if you're watching, you need to pick up Kai Marshall. That was incredible.
That's right. That was fantastic. And it was right by his Apes of Wrath teammates, too. So they had a great vantage point for that awesome play.
So that makes it 16-12. Pardon the voice crack. I was a little excited on that play.
Who wouldn't be excited about that?
So 5:14 remaining here in the third. Dallas back up by 4. That's a huge point regardless of the play that was made, but it keeps the Soul down by more than 3. The Soul had a chance there to cut the lead to 2. They ended up turning it over, and Dallas was able to take advantage of it. So there's going to be a whistle blown.
An injury called. Zach Riggins is hobbling off the field. Zach was on the injured list for several games this season. Tonight is actually his first game with the Roughnecks.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Hopefully it's just a stinger. He'll be back out there later. Roughnecks dealing with a couple injuries. Brody Smith, of course, still coming back from his. Bo Kittredge with an injury last week. He's not in the field anyway because he's with the national team, but at the same time, you would like to see him back sometime during the summer. This one's going to be sent deep over the top. Pollock looking for it, going back. The play is going to be made from Dallas. Dan Emmons with the block coming out of nowhere. Pollock tried to, once again, field that one like a outfielder. This one's going to be sent deep in the D. Will be made, and the interception will stop the break from the Roughnecks. Chris Brooks getting in front of that one. Pollock with it again. Going back the other way for the Soul. Over the top. There's going to be a diving effort to keep the possession alive.
Dallas trying to keep the disc on that force side of the field.
Bennett in the back of the end zone, and there's another diving play. This time from the Soul.
I wonder if some of Kai Marshall's good juju from that catch over there was still left over. So it's a sweet spot.
But another amazing diving play in that part of the end zone, almost identical. I think I'm a little bit of a homer, but I think Kyle Marshalls may have won up that one. But on the replay, what a play to make it 16-13 as the Soul make it interesting. Caleb Danicourt with the play.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently
16-13, 4 minutes exactly remaining.
You can't recognize Kai Marshall at the moment. It's because his hat fell off and nobody knows where.
So with the lead only being 3, now we have the Dallas O-line going upwind. So this is a real opportunity for them to be patient and then also look for those open spots. It has not been easy going upwind.
No, not at all. You don't want to rush anything, because whenever you rush it, that's whenever it ends up going out of play over the back of the end zone. So Lori with it now in the end zone. Malachek with it.
This is where
going to Jackson.
Muffin was really looking for somebody deep before he dumped it to Matt Jackson, just so the Roughnecks can get it out of this kind of danger zone here.
Yeah, this is not a good place to turn it over. Jackson's going to send that one deep, looking over the top for Slack. Slack's going to go up, and the grab is going to be made by Kinney. And the Soul will hurry it up on the counterattack. Moving down the field, Cunningham with it now. Looking over the top for Kinney again, and the bookends will be made. Logan Kinney stepping up big for the Soul, and it's a 2-goal game.
And that was a great defensive effort on Logan Kinney, being in the right position to get that D, and then using his momentum to carry him back down the field for that great reception.
Kinney ditching the hat on the far sideline after he made the defensive play, and then continuing with the bookends on the other end. So for the first time since the first quarter, the Soul are back within 2.
And that same third huck that was thrown to cause that turnover isn't an ideal situation that you really want anyway. But the Roughnecks were in that spot just because they desperately wanted to get the disc out of the red zone.
So Holleran with it now. The pool will go back to the Roughnecks. 3:17 on the clock. 2-goal game. As close as it's been so far today since the first quarter. The Soul have new life on their sideline. Their sideline, of course, right in front of our vantage point, so we can hear almost everything. And they have
A scuba hug!
Wow!
From Matt Bennett to Dalton Smith.
Absolutely incredible. The scuba over the top of everyone. And
that was so awesome.
Dalton Smith on the receiving end of it, all smiles right now. The Roughnecks love that one. The fans on their feet after that scuba hug. Wow.
That was fantastic, and that is why defenders across the country always have to just be a little bit more on their toes when they guard Matt Bennett, because you never know what he's going to pull out of his arsenal. Thankfully, Dalton Smith is a college teammate of his. They played at A&M together. They play on HIP, the club team, together, so he knew where he needed to go to get that.
Yeah, he's probably been on the receiving end of those. I don't know about one that long, but that was incredible. Matt Bennett showing off his stuff. You saw on the shot after that play, smiling and laughing on the way to the sideline. So Orloff with it now for the Soul. They find themselves back down by 3.
It's a great double team by Dallas. Roy Orloff really had to extend on that far around backhand.
With it on the far side. Jackson on Bennett. Bennett sending it deep, looking for Palak, but Palak's gonna not hang on to it. Hit off of his hands and incomplete.
Dan Emmons did a great job being so close to Pollock and really forcing that turnover. That was Dan Emmons' defensive credit there.
It's a tough job going up against Pollock's 6'6" frame, especially on a play like that in the end zone. But a good job there by Emmons, and the Roughnecks will get a shot at it. This one gonna be sent deep. Looking and making the reception is Dan Emmons on the other end. Looks like a timeout will be called to have a little bit of a break, trying to get some of the Roughneck players to catch up after that long huck.
So that was the final timeout for the Roughnecks this half. So we are in the third quarter, 2 minutes left, and understandable why Dan Emmons would call that, because the stall count in AUDL is only 7, and he had no teammates around him, and understandably does not want to force a throw with the lead only being 3 right now. But for the rest of the game, the Roughnecks do not have a timeout if they're in this similar situation further on.
Yeah, we'll see if that plays a huge role. Even with this being a close game, only a 3-goal difference, it could play an even bigger role later on, needing using a timeout to stop a run, or like you said, if that situation comes up again, if Dallas is going to be able to take advantage of it. So using those timeouts early is not necessarily a good thing, but 2 minutes, 8 seconds remaining here in the third quarter.
And the benefit to this is that Dallas was able to sub their O-line out onto the field, which is why you have Brandon Malachek picking up the disc rather than Dan Emmons, who called the timeout.
Like you said, Malachek with it now, Jackson behind him.
There's an ISO on Thomas Slack at the front of the stack.
And Slack's going to get free from it on the far side. Dump it back off to Malachek. Malachek guarded by Wolf, trying to get around him.
Great fakes from Malachek.
Jackson looking in the end zone. Just outside of the end zone. Marshall's going to miss that one, threw it behind Costello and intercepted in the back of the end zone. They'll take it to the goal line, and Cunningham will send this one deep. Another pop fly, this one for Wolf, and the catch will be made just outside of the end zone. Wolf came down with it, sends it back to reset. Can the Soul take advantage?
It seemed like both Roughnecks players didn't want to draw the foul, and so because of that, it really allowed Wolf, who's an incredible receiver, to get that opportunity.
And the throw outside, Peterson able to get a hand on it and send that one just out of reach. And so Dallas survives the threat after the incredible grab by Jared Wolf. And there's another.
No foul called on that throw.
Interesting. So the Soul have a chance. Cunningham in the end zone, and it's a 2-goal game again. The Soul taking advantage of it.
The turnover from Kai Marshall to Matt Costello was very costly, and when you're Dallas, you can't make those plays. It happens, and unfortunately, it ended up resulting in an Austin score.
I mean, that's a 2-goal. Instead of it being a 4-point advantage for the Roughnecks, instead it's a 2-point deficit that the Soul are starting to chip away at, and that's not exactly what you want, especially going into the fourth. You don't want to give them any kind of momentum going into that final quarter.
At the same time, any mistakes or errors or imperfect throws that might happen need to just roll off. The players for both teams gotta have a short memory, especially in games like this. You're not gonna throw what your perfect form, even if you have perfect form, it's not gonna be that great throw that you might be used to.
So that disc is gonna stay on the ground for most of it, most of the pool. So the Roughnecks will regain it. Malachek with it, double teamed on the sideline. Malachek over the top with the hammer, and it's going to drop to the ground, and there's a defensive stand again from the Soul. A chance to make it a 1-goal game. Cunningham looking deep outside of the end zone. The catch will be made. A nice fake, and they're going to call a timeout. Nask Mock able to grab that one and call the timeout in order to get his Soul players farther downfield.
So this is the final timeout for Austin of their half. And a strategic move. A score here takes you within one, but that's all to say there are 12 minutes in the fourth quarter that we still haven't played.
Do these coaches know these players know that it's the?
But I think it's the runs. It's the runs that's so critical. So, you know, Austin just scored 1, so they want to take advantage of having these 2 in a row. Dallas certainly taking advantage of their field position on their previous point.
So 17-15, Dallas still out in front. Soul threatening to chip it back within 1. 1 is the closest that they've been the entire game. So Loscorn with the disc. Looks like he will end up being double teamed by Smith and Lowry, looks like.
It's Kai Marshall.
The long hair in the hat throws me off from a distance. So Smith and Marshall double teaming Loscorn. Soul trying to take advantage This one's going to be up in the air, and the defense.
Great D by Chris Larberg,
Chris
sprinting to the end
Larberg.
zone. The clock is ticking.
Just under 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Oh, and another turnover. Another miscommunication, like you said, from the Roughnecks.
Bennett
Clock
was
still
signaling
ticking.
someone to go deep, but I don't think he saw the look that he wanted.
10 seconds remaining. That one's going to hit the ground. The Roughnecks will have one chance downwind. 3 seconds. Smith over the top, looking in the back of the end zone, and the play will not be
So
made.
close.
Chris Larberg unable to come down with it. So it will be a 2-goal deficit / advantage. The Roughnecks head into the fourth quarter up by 2, 17-15. So much scrambling, so much excitement into that one. We'll look at a replay here on that last play. Chris Larberg just out of reach.
I like that Dalton Smith was looking for that hammer at the end just because there were 2 defenders on that fourth side. But the disc is in the air for so long that gave that opportunity for the Soul defenders to come over to the break side and cause enough just ruckus in there to make it harder for Chris Larberg to read that disc.
And so it's going to be entertaining to watch in the next quarter or so. 12 minutes remain. Dallas up by 2. What are you expecting to see out of the Soul as they try and continue to get back in this? They had a run at the end, but weren't able to get all the way to where they needed to be.
I think the Soul probably want to continue that intensity, and they want to maintain possession. Possession is so key right now, because if the disc goes up in the air, it is anybody's guess, and then could change what seems like something that would be a no-brainer where if there wasn't as much wind as there is right now. Dallas has to come out strong in this fourth quarter. There's still a lot of ultimate that's still yet to be played today, but Dallas really wants to keep that intensity and that fire and have some of these spectacular plays, using the entire field, using both sides of the disc for those upside down throws and your more traditional face up or face down throws.
So Dallas trying to remain undefeated on the season, one of 5 remaining undefeateds in the AUDL. Haven't trailed once this season. The Soul trying to look for their second win, only down by 3. It's an incredible game so far. A lot of intrigue with the wind, with the diving plays. So much happening as Ted Barnett is going to get us started in the fourth quarter as he will pull to the Soul. The Soul holding up the 4s on the sideline as they have a chance here to pull this back within 1. So Austin with it now. Lost corner.
So Mitchell Bennett is running deep, and it appears they were trying to get Eric Hillis into the power position to hit that deep shot, but the swing was just hanging too high in the air.
Barnett on lost court. A diving effort, not there in time. Bennett has it, guarded by Jackson. Walsh with it. Back to Orloff. Orloff guarded by Laurie. Loscorn in the end zone, and the diving D. Can the trash be grabbed? It's incomplete. What a play.
Great play by Thomas Slack.
Absolutely incredible defensive play from Thomas Slack. Wow.
Great job on Thomas's part, really recognizing the path of the disc and anticipating where that breakthrow is going to occur. That is tough when you're playing good four-side defense.
Slack unable to grab that one. A nice defensive play on the other end, this time from Caleb Danicourt. The Soul will have a chance again to make it a 1-goal game. Far side now, Danicourt in the back of the end zone, just out of reach. And the Soul turn it back over.
Those up-line, same third throws are very difficult, and they're really difficult on either side, but especially on that downwind, just because there's so much acceleration coming from the disc.
So Jackson with it, hands it to Laurie. Slack with it now, guarded by Danicourt. In the middle to Barnett. Laurie with it. Slack is farther downfield. Slack's gonna go up. The disc still in the air. No one's gonna come down with it, and it's another Roughnecks turnover. The Soul standing strong on defense so far here in the fourth quarter. No one scored in the first almost 2.5 minutes. Pollock with it now for the Soul. Bennett.
Roy Orloff, the last back right now. Laurie able to contain him.
Walsh going to dump it back off to Loscorn. Walsh wanting that disc, calling from Loscorn. Dump it back off.
You can see Jake Anderson's playing the lanes right now and then playing far enough off of him to force a lateral cut or a lateral throw or a throw underneath like that, but nothing deep.
So Bennett with it now, guarded by Jackson. He'll send it across field to Pollock. Pollock to Walsh. Good patience here from the Soul, passing it around, not forcing anything bad. Pollock to Brooks.
Thomas Slack doing a great job with that backhand force.
It's a very well played possession on both sides. The defense not giving any room. The Soul not having any defensive. It's a defensive stop there from Matt Jackson. Looking for a foul call, but none there as he was able to get around and knock the disc down. But like I was saying, both sides were playing well. The Soul patient, the Roughnecks good and solid on the defensive side. This is such a long point here to start the fourth. It's not a bad thing if you're a Roughneck. Singing it deep, looking in the end zone, and there's the score. Jake Anderson reels it in to make it 18-15.
And I really have to credit the Dallas defense on that play. They started with a straight up mark, and so that's why they were playing further back, forcing those underthrows. Then they switched to the backhand force, kept everything on that sideline, and in that way were able to force a turnover. Sometimes when you transition from a straight up to a backhand or a flick force, it's difficult, and passes get off because the defense is out of position, and Dallas just did a great job there.
So after all of that to start the fourth quarter, almost 4 minutes in already on the first point, Dallas strikes first here in the final 12 minutes. So 8:10 on the clock, Dallas up by 3. And Bennett will send the pull deep. A slicing pull as that one's going to be corralled in the back of the end zone. The Soul will get started on offense. Cunningham with it, sending it forward to Kenny. Oh, that disc is going to get caught by the wind, but Cunningham able to adjust and regain possession. Kenny with it. This was going to be sent deep by Hillis, and 2 Dallas defenders there to knock it down.
Reed Bacon and Ted Barnett in a great spot. They knew where the disc was going to end up, especially now knowing how it's been traveled since we're in the fourth quarter now. They did a great job of getting to not where it is, but where it's going to be.
So Dallas will regain possession, sending this one deep, looking and not making the play. A little bit of contact there, and it will be called. There will be a foul called on that one. So Dallas will keep possession. That was Casey Hogg, I apologize, on the receiving end of that. Got fouled on the play. Roughnecks have it right on the goal line, sending the disc. Hogg with it. And Hogg will get his second goal of the game as he will tiptoe inside the goal line to make it a 4-goal advantage for the Soul.
What they did right there is one very simple concept in Ultimate, but it's sometimes hard, especially for new players, to grasp that the person who just threw it to you is probably open. So Casey does a great job of dishing it to Matt and then darting straight for the end zone. Matt knows, okay, he's going to come out and come back to the goal line to get another score.
So to start the fourth, 2 straight goals, 2 straight breaks for the Roughnecks. Could potentially loom large as more time ticks off that clock. The more unlikely it would be for a Soul comeback. But like like we said earlier,
it is a game of runs.
Those Soul players can show, or have already shown in this game, that they can make a quick run. It doesn't take long.
I'm sure that the 2 one-point losses on the road that the Soul have already had this year stung, and that is something that they have worked through and adjusted, and so I just wouldn't count out the Soul for the rest of the game. But Dallas is doing a great job of converting on the opportunities that they have and not getting down on any turns that they might encounter either.
Dallas, of course, playing without the big six today, all on the road with the U.S. national team. Austin Soul, almost full power. Nobody's ever completely full power, and Dylan Larberg making the defensive play there to get the disc back to the Roughnecks. Laurie with it. Back to Jackson. Jackson gonna dump it back off to Anderson. Anderson back to Jackson. Like you said, thrower is open. Larberg with it in the corner, in front of the end zone. Anderson with it just a foot outside, and he will hand it in for the score. Dalton Smith ends up with the goal.
And those are tough right there when you're in a windy condition like this, you're in the corner of the end zone, and it's just tight. There's just not a lot of space to work with. Dalton Smith's defender is right on him, but great connection between Jake Anderson and Dalton Smith.
So 3 straight points, 3 straight breaks to start the 4th quarter for the Dallas Roughnecks. The Soul falling farther behind, really needing to be patient with this next possession and work it down the field. They are going against the wind still, which is huge. We'll see if the Soul can take advantage of their next possession. 6:06 remaining. We're just about halfway finished with the 4th quarter.
So a lot of players who, well, it's a mix. It's a mix of some O-line players and D-line players coming down now for the Roughnecks. A lot of throwers, so if they are able to force the turn, they have throwers to work it upwind.
Orloff with it. Back to Loscorn. Loscorn really running this offense today, doing a good job of it.
And Loscorn on Team USA in his own right in the mixed division, so he has missed a few Soul games due to his Team USA commitments.
He's definitely a big, solid key to that Soul operation down in Austin. Cunningham. Send it back to Pollock.
Stephen Darrow staying close.
Picked up a pivot foot. A lot of Roughneck
travel
fans
called.
That, and they will get it. He did pick up the pivot foot. I saw the same thing that every Roughneck fan did. So the Roughnecks will get a shot for another break. Cunningham yelling at his team, and Ted Barnett will receive that one. An easy goal, 4 straight as he throws the disc into the crowd.
Great put from Reed Bacon, recognizing Ted Barnett, getting that space, gets the assist against the Soul.
So another goal for the Roughnecks as they continue to grow their lead, up by 6 now, 21-15.
It's Dallas 21, Austin 15.
It is DUA night tonight at the Dallas Roughnecks, and the Dallas Ultimate Association is proud to present Texas Two Finger, June 25th and 26th at UT Dallas in Richardson. Club teams from all across the South attend this tournament for its great fields, amenities, and even better competition. Register your team by June 11th, or come watch games that weekend. Visit dallasultimate.org for details.
So that pull will be sent deep. The Soul really falling behind here, giving up 4 straight Roughneck points. Malachek all over defensively. Cunningham with it. Over the top, a scooper, and Kinney will come up with it.
Matt Jackson was so close to that. but Logan Kinney had really great focus there coming down with the disc.
So that'll make it 21-16. So the Soul quickly strike back, and that's what we talked about. They can be quick in their scoring opportunities, and they'll continue to do so as they give the disc back to the Roughnecks.
And we see the Soul fan contingency as well. Austin is about 300 miles from Dallas, so it's sometimes quick, sometimes not, depending on the traffic, but trip up 35, and it's just great to be able to see fans from all across Texas in attendance here today, and plenty of fans watching online too. We want to shout out all the Roughnecks and Soul fans who are watching our live stream. You can tweet us at #RoughnecksLive. Seen some great tweets from Jody Ayers out in Fayetteville. He's a season ticket holder who usually can make it out, couldn't make it this weekend.
It's always fun seeing where those tweets come from, as this will go over the top of everyone and find the back of the end zone. Wow!
Casey Hogg with the difficult upside down catch. The assist from Dylan Larberg.
And the Roughnecks are just showing off now. Like that was incredible.
I take it back. Dalton Smith with the assist. Casey Hogg reading it perfectly.
My goodness. Casey Hogg coming up and just pointing back at Smith, just like, thank you for that, for allowing
That
me
was great. That
to
was
catch
nice.
that.
Yes.
Wow. That's as high and as perfect of an arch throw that I've seen.
Great.
Incredible. So
Hammer
22-16 is the score now. The Roughnecks up by 6 with 4:27 remaining. Matt Jackson with the disc. They'll send that pull deep. A nice pull, still against the wind.
That's just tough. It seemed especially gusty when that pull went up as well.
You know, it's interesting, the 3 home games that the Roughnecks have had, and I don't think we've had one with wind under 10 miles an hour.
It's true.
Dallas not normally known as the Windy City, but I don't know, they might get a new nickname.
The
Sorry,
wind comes
Chicago.
sweeping down the plains, right?
I guess you could say that.
Oh, but that's Oklahoma. Never mind. Oops.
We're not too
I'm
far
sorry,
from
any Oklahoma folks.
So Bennett with it now, guarded by Jackson. Soul being patient over the top, and Jackson with the D knocks it down and gives the Roughnecks the possession.
No go, says Matt Jackson.
Man bun and all. Oh, and that was going to be intercepted. Walsh came out of nowhere and made that interception. That was going to be knocked down by Jake Anderson. Trading defensive plays back and forth here.
So Stanley Peterson going deep. Larberg recognizes him.
Let's see who can come up with it. Peterson has it. He'll dump it right back off to Emmons. Back to Peterson. Peterson looking for Anderson. Anderson's going to go up and make the play in the end zone.
Bookends for Jake Anderson.
As he tumbled a lot afterwards, looks up to the sky, tosses the disc, and that makes it a 7-point advantage for the Dallas Roughnecks.
Jake Anderson has a great celebration. So he is the head basketball coach at John Paul II High School in Plano. So his spike celebration is a little
nice little basketball
exactly.
Shot. Nice jump shot. Beautiful play there from Jake Anderson as he was able to tuck and roll.
Hugs the disc. I'm so glad the disc ended up here. Walsh takes his hat off. And Jake with the basketball shot celebration.
I love the sarcastic Walsh taking the hat off. Take this, Jake Anderson. What a play from you.
More double wide teammates.
So Jackson will send this one deep. Actually, that's not Jackson. It's Bennett sending that one deep. It's going to bounce right over and out of play. Soul hurrying to try and get this disc back into play in their own end zone. Soul running out of time, under 3 minutes remaining. Soul sending this one deep. Cunningham. Look for this one. It's going to hang up in the air, and Dallas will make the interception. Hogg will just knock it down in the Soul end zone.
And Dallas was trying to figure out their last back situation, and in that communication, 2 Soul defenders went deep.
Larberg with it, and it's going to be out of his reach. I thought he was going to lay out there for a second.
Bit of a huck and play D strategy there.
Soul just trying to get something going quickly. Don't have a whole lot of time. Clutton with it. Going to give it back to Cunningham. Cunningham across, looking for Kinney. Kinney back to Starkle. Starkle quiet today. Nice fake. And that's going to be just out of the reach. Ted Barnett with the interception. And Dallas Roughnecks will get back on offense. Hogg with it. Hogg's going to send it deep, looking for Barnett. Barnett's going to be able to get underneath it about 10 yards out. He's able to kind of run a little bit up to it. He's going to have Larberg able to make the play. Jumping Soul defender not there in time, and Bennett will finish it off. And the Roughnecks looking good here in the fourth quarter. 24-16 is the score.
And that was bookends for Ted Barnett. He catches the interception on one end of the field and ends up catching the score.
Definitely a disappointing outing for the Soul in the fourth quarter. They were right on the edge of things. It was 17-15 at the end of the third, and Dallas really taking off ever since the fourth started and taking control of this game.
And I think this really highlights one of the big storylines for the Roughnecks so far this season, where everyone's talking about, especially the big five the 5 members who are on Team USA, but the depth of the team. So yes, Bo Kittredge, Jimmy Mickle, Cassidy, Dylan, they have lots of touches, they have spectacular plays, but it's these guys who you see here tonight that are making so many plays that can work on both sides of the disc. That's going to be really tough for other teams to face.
Dallas looking to increase to 6 wins and no losses, improving on that undefeated record as that disc is going to fall to the ground. Oh, and a hand block from Lucky Masola.
I could hear that from here, so he got a full hand on that.
Masola sending it across. There's a collision there, and they'll call the foul. And the Soul will advance the disc. So Dallas, one of 5 remaining undefeateds on the season. The Soul.
Great slap down from Ben Laurie.
Laurie came just around the side and just knocked that one straight down to the side. Wow. You know, a lot of the time at full strength, the Roughnecks will make some incredible offensive plays today. Some of the defensive plays have been the storyline, the highlight reel type plays. So Peterson with it now. Nice fake as he hands it to Slack. Slack to Laurie. Laurie to Smith. Smith back to Laurie. A couple more completions, and that'll do it for the Roughnecks.
Great
Jackson
grab.
with a great grab. One more completion should end it. Larberg with it. And he'll send it, and that'll hit the ground. And the clock will sound. Dallas improves to 6-0. One of the remaining undefeated AUDL teams as they win it tonight without the Big Six and against the Austin Soul, 24-16. Emmy, what are some final thoughts that you've had in this game? It was an overall great game, defensively and offensively, especially in the fourth quarter, really pulling away and showing their strength.
I think Dallas did a great job maintaining control of the game. Austin Soul had some excellent runs, but Dallas did not let the runs rattle their confidence, rattle their game plan, and kept a cool head. And then in the fourth quarter, were able to get those SWAT down Ds and really seal this game. A lot of people were wondering, what is tonight going to be like with the Team USA contingency not here? And I think they were pretty strong, both teams put on a great show, and it was a lot of really fun ultimate to watch.
I would say so. It was a great game all the way up until the fourth quarter, and in the fourth quarter, that's where Dallas really showed their depth. We talked about it in the fourth quarter about how they, without those contingency of USA players, were able to really take advantage of it. Defensively, outstanding. One goal in the final quarter is unbelievable, and so far 6-0 on the season. What do you see coming up that really excites you for this team?
I think that they just have more and more that they can build upon. I think different players are moving into new roles now that the Team USA players are going to be gone for several more games. The next Dallas Roughnecks game is an afternoon game. It's Sunday afternoon, May 22nd. This is going to be the first day game that the team has faced. It only gets hotter and hotter in Texas, so it will be a real test to see, does that make a difference? Does that factor into the fatigue? These are long games, it's a big field, there are a lot of points that are played.
So a lot of excitement today in this one, 24-16, the final score as the Roughnecks come out on top in the third installment of the Texas two-step rivalry with the Austin Soul. Anything else you'd like to add, Amy?
I think that we want to thank everybody for joining us on our stream tonight as well. We are going to have our Facebook Live just in a few minutes after our live stream here ends, so make sure you go to the Dallas Roughnecks Facebook page. Then we'll be able to answer any comments. We're going to do some player interviews, talk to them. Make sure you follow us on our social media channels. We have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we're just so excited that we're able to provide this live stream for free to all of our fans all across the world.
And for a second here, we're actually going to take a look at some highlights on the game. A lot of them coming in the second half, a lot of great plays. I know Kai Marshall had an incredible play in the end zone during this. So what else you see from these plays? There's the Kai Marshall play from Matt Jackson, an incredible diving effort. Just absolutely incredible there. And then the over-the-top straight to
the
Dalton
scuba
Smith.
huck, the fan favorite scuba huck. we have to give, and I will say, if we're talking about highlights, that I think the creative throws that the players had out there, the leading throws that the receivers were able to really track down and use to catch with both hands. I also liked the fact that the Roughnecks were able to maintain that control. They really added some touch on their downwind hucks, so you didn't see as many of them just sailing right out the back of the end zone. Jake Anderson with his catch and then face plant.
Yeah, it's a lot of highlights, a lot of them, like we said, coming in the second half, especially in that fourth quarter whenever the Roughnecks really took over, and a big part of that was Dirty Dan Emmons. Paige is with him right now on the sideline.
Yeah. I'm here with player Dan Emmons. Dan, you had a great couple of defensive plays. What's going through your mind as you're jumping up trying to get the Frisbee?
Well, usually I'm kind of tasked with guarding kind of the big man out there, so it's just a matter of trying to get yourself between between the disc and your man, really trying to just make those throws a little bit tougher, and if they go up, usually just trying to use that field awareness to try and actually just make the active play.
And you were missing a lot of your key players this week since they're all in Columbia for men's nationals. What was the mindset of your team going into this game without them?
Well, I think one of the big things about this team is we want to prove to everybody that we actually have depth beyond kind of the big six that everyone talks about. I think coming out here we were able to prove that using kind of the bottom part of our rosters, bringing up a couple of practice players, and we were still able to come out here, put up some points, put up some defensive blocks. So I think the big thing was really just trying to show that we're more than just the big six. You know, we're an entire team, and we've got a deep, deep roster.
And we actually got to speak to your mother earlier. What does it mean to you to have your mom out here on Mother's Day weekend?
It's incredible. My mom actually had a bout with breast cancer over the summer, went through chemotherapy, actually finished up in December, so being able to actually have her out here for the game and being able to spend another Mother's Day with her, it's pretty important.
All right, well, thank you so much. Great game.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, and we're going to talk to Stanley Peterson next. Stanley? All right, you played a great game.
Yeah.
The first half, I kept hearing your name over and over and over again. What was going on out there?
Kai was just finding me in the end zone. I don't know. He's like, go deep. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
That was the only discussion, go deep?
Yeah, that's all Kai wants me to do.
And this is only your second game with the team, so how did you become such an impactful player so quickly?
You know, I've played against these guys for 4 years in college, and you know, I kind of know what's going on out there, and you know, they've brought me in very well.
All right, well, thank you so much. Great game. We'll see you next week. And next we're going to talk to Kai Marshall. Kai, can we talk to you for a second? Hi, all right, we talked to you the last time we were here, and this game, I think, if possible, was more impressive. It was Kai Marshall's name every other second. Tell me a little bit about what was going on with you out there today.
Well, I knew that we didn't have like our big guys as usual, so I wanted to see the team and myself to step up, and I think we did that, which is really cool. So we just got to see a lot of players who don't usually get to take that initiative do that tonight.
So should Bo and Jimmy and the rest of them be worried without you being here?
I don't know about worried. I think they should be happy that we can do that, I guess. Yeah.
And yet again, you had the biggest fan club out here tonight. Was this the same group, a different group? What's that?
More or less the same group. Yeah, they always come to everything, so that's awesome from them.
All right, well, thank you so much. You played a great game.
Thank you.
All right, back to y'all up top.
Thanks, Paige. Some great interviews there from Peterson, from Emmons, and from Marshall. So all around an incredible day here again in the Colony. We're just about done here, but first we want to talk about Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of those mothers out there. I have the best in the world.
I don't know. I think my mom is pretty awesome, and she's right there, so she might hold you to it.
That's probably true. I probably need to calm down a little bit.
But I think for all of the Roughnecks players, they really put on a great show for their moms. Lots of moms out here. Glad we were able to talk to Dan Emmons' mom, Beth, and her courageous fight and her awesome spirit. But we do want to wish everybody a great Mother's Day, and we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much.
So at the end of the night, the Dallas Roughnecks remain undefeated in this 2016 AUDL season. They will go and play on May 22nd. We are done here. For everyone at Game On Sports Productions, I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Emmy Fitzgerald with Paige Schnorbach down on the field. Thank you for joining us, and tune in next time here on DallasRoughnecks.com.